While most ordinary people may be given a second chance after making a mistake, some famous folks were axed or demoted after their split-second bad choices and scandalous behavior. From Brian Williams to Paula Deen, here are the stars whose careers went up in flames in just a few moments. Brian Williams. In 2015, one of America's most recognizable newsmen, Brian Williams, was caught embellishing stories about his war reporting. According to Variety, Williams made up statements about reporting in Iraq in 2003. His inflated stories appeared not only on the nightly news, but also on CBS's Late Show with David Letterman. Williams claimed he was reporting in a helicopter under fire in Iraq in 2003, but the men and women in uniform on that same flight told a different version of the events. The inflated stories made many worry if Williams was even capable of telling truthful news. According to USA Today, Williams was suspended for 6 months without pay for misremembering his reporting. NBC News President Deborah Turnus wrote, "I'm sure you understand this was a very hard decision. Certainly there will be those who disagree, but we believe this suspension is the appropriate and proportionate action." Williams also apologized, saying, "I'm sorry, I said things that weren't true. I let down my NBC colleagues and our viewers. I am determined to win back their trust. I will greatly miss working with the team on nightly news, but I know the broadcast will be in excellent hands with Lester Holt as anchor. I will support him 100% as he has always supported me." Following his suspension, Williams was permanently removed from his nightly news anchor seat and was reassigned to cover breaking news on the less popular MSNBC.
I'm Brian Williams, reporting tonight from New York. Good night.
Anthony Weiner. Anthony Weiner was on track to be a major political force in New York and perhaps the entire nation, had he just kept it in his pants. He first burst on the scene in the 90s as he ran for Congress in Brooklyn, New York, but his career would spiral out of control in the spring of 2011. According to People, Weiner was caught in his first sexting scandal after an image of his crotch was inadvertently sent out on Twitter. At the time, he claimed he was hacked, but days later, he confessed to relationships with at least 6 women. In a press conference, he said,
"I haven't told the truth, and I've done things I deeply regret. I apologize to my wife and our families."
Later, during his attempt at a comeback in the 2013 race for New York mayor, Weiner once again faced a fresh round of sexting allegations. In July of that year, he confessed to sending sexually explicit photos to a woman online, effectively ending his political career. Amazingly, those nasty headlines returned yet again in 2016. This time, the photos were not only sexual in nature, but one featured his young son next to him. As a result, Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin, announced she was ending her marriage and allegedly filed for divorce. But according to the New York Post, as of May 2017, the couple had not signed any papers, and Abedin had invited Weiner back into their home. Political maneuver? We'll wait for the tweet. Giuliana Rancic. Oscar gossip landed E! personality Giuliana Rancic in some very hot water. According to People, while filming a 2015 episode of Fashion Police, Rancic commented that a dreadlocked Zendaya smelled of, quote, patchouli oil and weed. Many thought her comments had racist undertones, and Zendaya herself fired back with a lengthy response calling the remarks ignorant slurs. Rancic issued an apology following the incident, saying,
"I just want everyone to know I didn't intend to hurt anybody, but I've learned it is not my intent that matters, it's the result."
In the aftermath, People reported both Kathy Griffin and Kelly Osbourne quit the show. Rancic also eventually stepped down as host of E! News. Eliot Spitzer. After one short year as governor of New York State, the New York Times reported Eliot Spitzer was caught in a wild prostitution ring. In March 2008, the politician was caught red-handed on a federal wiretap discussing meeting a high-priced prostitute in Washington, D.C. He allegedly met the woman on February 13th at the Mayflower Hotel. In a statement to the media, he said,
"I have acted in a way that violates my obligations to my family and that violates my or any sense of right and wrong."
He would later resign, saying in a statement, "Over the course of my public life, I have insisted that people, regardless of their position or power, take responsibility for their conduct.
I can and will ask no less of myself. For this reason, I am resigning from the office of governor."
His political career was over, and in 2014, he and wife Silda Spitzer ended their marriage after 26 years together. In their agreement, Silda was given a lump sum of $7.5 million and was guaranteed $240,000 a year until she dies or remarries. Hope that night at the Mayflower Hotel was worth it. Billy Bush. Who knew an old, candid conversation with reality show host Donald Trump would come back to bite Billy Bush? In October 2016, just weeks before the presidential election, audio from an exchange between Bush and Trump surfaced via the Washington Post. The conversation, in which Trump makes sexually suggestive comments about women, took place 11 years prior. While the leaked footage did little to slow Trump's campaign for the White House, it absolutely ended Bush's career, which by this point had taken him to the Today Show. Bush said in a statement, "Obviously, I'm embarrassed and ashamed. It's no excuse, but this happened 11 years ago. I was younger, less mature, and acted foolishly in playing along. I'm very sorry." But that wasn't enough for NBC execs, who cut Bush from the morning show. After months of soul-searching and reflection, Bush told The Hollywood Reporter in May 2017, "I plan to return to the job that I love, which is television, communicating, interviewing people. I have changed in a way that I think will make me better at my job." Speaking of doing what you love. John Edwards. A work relationship, which turned very personal, brought down former U.S. Senator John Edwards. According to ABC News, Edwards first came in contact with filmmaker Rielle Hunter in 2006, while the pair worked on a web series chronicling Edwards' race to the White House in 2008. By early 2007, the webisodes were pulled from his website, as Edwards' wife, Elizabeth Edwards, announced that her cancer had returned and was incurable. By the fall of 2008, a year away from the presidential election, the National Enquirer reported that Edwards carried out an affair with a staffer. He denied it, saying, "It's completely untrue, ridiculous. I've been in love with the same woman for 30+ years, and as anybody who's been around us knows, she's an extraordinary human being. Warm, loving, beautiful, sexy, and as good a person as I have ever known." Weeks later, a photo of Hunter, pregnant, emerged. In February 2008, Hunter gave birth to a baby girl, and the child's father was mysteriously left off the birth certificate. A month later, Edwards came clean about having an affair, but denied being the father of the baby. In the summer of 2009, Edwards faced criminal allegations that he misused campaign funds, paying Hunter more than $100,000 to keep quiet. The following January of 2010, Edwards finally admitted he's the father of Hunter's little girl, saying, "It was wrong of me to ever deny she was my daughter, and hopefully one day, when she understands, she will forgive me." Edwards' wife Elizabeth would die by the end of that year. In the end, Edwards was charged with conspiracy, 4 counts of illegal campaign contributions, and 1 count of false statements. In May 2012, the judge declared a mistrial and Edwards escaped a 30-year prison sentence. Milo Yiannopoulos. Milo Yiannopoulos is a British media personality known for his controversial remarks on Muslims, trans people, race, sex, and more, but his commentary on gay men having sex with boys age 13 crossed the line for many. On the Drunken Peasants podcast in 2016, Yiannopoulos advocated for child abuse, saying, No, you're misunderstanding what pedophilia means. Pedophilia is not a sexual attraction to somebody 13 years old who is sexually mature. Pedophilia is an attraction to children who have not reached puberty." He continued to say that 13-year-olds aren't children and that the idea of consent is, quote, "arbitrary and oppressive." Yiannopoulos himself was a victim of sexual abuse at the hands of 2 men from ages 13 to 16, as reported by NBC News and the New York Times. By February 2017, Yiannopoulos' career was in flames. The Conservative Political Action Conference rescinded its offer for Yiannopoulos to speak, and Simon & Schuster pulled the plug on plans to release his upcoming book, Dangerous. After tremendous outcry, the outspoken figure was forced to apologize and resign from his post at Breitbart. He said, "I do not advocate for illegal behavior. I do not support child abuse. It's a disgusting crime of which I have been a victim. I would be wrong to allow my poor choice of words to detract from my colleagues' important reporting." In the aftermath, he announced plans to launch his own media company and to release his book through another publishing house. Paula Deen. Paula Deen's foul language in a leaked deposition cost her her entire career. According to Fox News, Deen and her brother Bubba Hears were being sued for $1.2 million for allegedly using the N-word at their restaurant, and for Hears allegedly sexually harassing a worker. In Deen's deposition, she confessed to using the N-word and planning plantation-style weddings with all-black servers. When asked if she ever used the N-word, Deen says, "Yes, of course." She recalled using it when she was robbed at gunpoint and at other times, but she said, "Things have changed since the 60s in the South, and my children and my brother object to that word being used in any cruel or mean behavior." After her comments made headlines, Deen was cut from the Food Network, which was airing 2 of her shows. Deen then attempted an unsuccessful apology tour, saying,
"I want to apologize to everybody for the wrong that I've done."
She later posted a second apology that was a little more sincere.
"I offer my sincere apology to those that I have hurt
and I hope that you forgive me.
Not even extra butter could save that deflated souffle. Thanks for watching. Click the Nicki Swift icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.